ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। This is our 200th class, and in the last class, 199th, we had covered verses 16 and 17 of this Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga, chapter 9 of Bhagavad Geetā. In the last two verses, we saw how Lord Sri Krishna, above all, gives to the readers, to all of us, a greater understanding of what or who God is. He said, Aham kratuhu aham yajnaha swadaham aham aushadam mantroham ahame vajyam aham agnihi aham bhutam. Using the word aham 8 times in a single verse, he says who he himself is. Vedyam pavitra momkaraha ruksama yajurevacha, said the 17th verse, after saying, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the grandfather, I am the one who holds all this. In the Vedanta, as we go higher and higher, we realize that God alone is. God alone is. Everything else is His expression only. However, on a notch below, we look at God as the provider, as the supporter, as the ruler, as the overseer, as the creator, as the one who dissolves, and a number of roles where we are below Him, we receive blessings from Him, we receive protection from Him, and so on. But on the higher planes of Vedanta, we do not have a separate existence at all. We are part of His manifestation. God Himself is the king, God Himself is the beggar on the higher level. That is, as we rise in philosophical understanding, so many dividing lines get erased. Continuing in this class number 200, we read the 18th verse. As we said before also, these verses have a lot of poetic beauty. Sri Krishna says in the 18th verse, Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit Prabhava Pralaya Sthanam Nidhanam Bijamavyayam. I am Gati. I am where everyone has to reach. Gati means the destination. Somewhere else Gati can mean speed also. But here it is where we have to go. Gantavyam, the destination where all of us are heading towards. Bharta, I support, I sustain. Bharta. Some North Indians were very happy. Oh, one of our favorite dishes, Baingan ka bharta, finds a mention in Bhagavad Geetā. On a lighter vein, yes, if there is a food item that is mentioned in Bhagavad Geetā, it is bharta. So it has nothing to do with Baingan ka bharta, that preparation made of eggplant or brinjal as we call it in India. But bharta means bharanam karoti. Bharanam, vibharti, holding. Vibhranam mushakadvajam. Lord Ganesha is described in one of the shlokas. Vibha means to hold. He holds the flag with the mark of his vehicle, a mouse. Mushakadvajam. So Vibhrati, Vibhrana, etc. appear in many prayer verses. For that matter, day before in Chennai, somebody asked me, there is a popular, well quoted, much quoted sutra in Patanjali, Yoga Sutras. Ritambhara Tatra Prajna. So what is Ritambhara? There also Ritam Vibharti iti Ritambhara. It is that state of consciousness which holds truth. Ritam is truth. Vibharti, Bhra Vibharti. Third conjugation root, Vibharti. So here, Bharta, he holds the entire universe. He is the support. He is the provider in several ways. Bharta is a very powerful word. Gatir Bharta Prabhuhu. He is the master. If we look at ourselves as bowing down before a mighty power, who is that mighty power? It is Lord Sri Krishna. Sakshi. In a hasty reading, these words might look contradictory. In one word, he says, I support everything. In another, Sakshi, he says, I don't do anything. I stand at a distance and watch. Sakshi means one who sees, one who witnesses. Michael Singer, in his very popular book, The Untethered Soul, talks a lot about being the witnessing consciousness, being the witnessing awareness. Be the witness, and everything will fall in place. When we identify with thought, when we conclude, oh, here I lost, there I won, here they treated me well, and over there they insulted me, and so on, this me, me, me. They praised me, they talked loosely about me, they honored me, they neglected me, they ignored me. Me. That me is actually not true. Me is false. The true I is the mere witness and is ever free. Sakshi is the witness. Nivasaha, Lord Krishna himself is the residence. Nivasa is residence. For whom? For what? For everyone, for everything. Sharanam. When we are in trouble, we need refuge. We look for some shelter. There is no better shelter than Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And on a different plane, if it is not shelter, but if it's a good friend whom you are looking for, Suhrat. Suhrat is a friend. Suhrat is a well-wisher. Suhrat is someone in whose company you are at peace. Prabhava pralaya sthanam nidhanam bijamavyayam. Prabhavaha, everything rises in me. Everything is born in me. Pralayaha, everything dissolves in me. Sthanam, everything stays in me. Those who are familiar with Upanishads definitely think of or remember Taittiriya Upanishad. यतो वा इमानि भूतानि जायन्ते येन जातानि जीवन्ति यत् प्रयन्ति अभिसंविशन्ति, which gets codified in Brahma Sutra, Janmadhyasya yataha. Janma adi asya yataha. Brahman is that supreme truth from which there comes about the birth of this entire creation, and this entire creation, objects and subjects included, stays in Brahman and then dissolves in Brahman. Especially in the third Valli of Taittiriya Upanishad, Father Varuna says to the son Bhrigu, seek to know Brahma. Brahma vijidnasasva. Seek to know Brahma. And if the son asks, how will I go about it? The father says, through tapaha. Tapasa Brahma vijidnasasva. Tapo Brahmeti. Repeats, these two lines repeat a few times in Bhagavalli of Taittiriya Upanishad. So Prabhava Pralayasthanam, Janma Sthiti and Laya of this entire creation, leaving nothing out. Not only what appears in space and time, but space and time also arise in pure awareness and dissolve in pure awareness. In pure awareness, in Sat-Chit, by itself, there are no space or time. Nidhanam, I am the repository. Nidhanam is a neuter form of the better known word Nidhi. Nidhi. Karuna Nidhi. Karuna Nidhanam are synonyms. Nidhanam is I am the repository. I am the great treasure in which everything is included. I am the treasure chest. Open that chest. Open that huge box. You will see gold and silver, diamonds and pearls. That is also Nidhi. Nidhanam. Bijam Avyayam. I am such seed from which creation ensues or comes out, but unlike any other seed, even when so much comes out of me, I do not decay. Therefore, avyayam bijam. Let's see how Sri Shankaracharya briefly explains these words. Kincha gatihi karma phalam. We said in general sense destination, but in particular it is the phala, the result of karma. Karma phalam. So we do something, then the result of that karma is our destination. Somebody did some theft, found himself in the jail. So jail is the destination. Act of stealing was where he started, and he ends up in the jail. Somebody does a lot of good work, and the destination is. In the Shastras, it is said he goes to heaven, or on the earth itself, a lot of people respect him, love him, are grateful to him. Gati, karmanam phalam. Bharta is poshta. Posh. Posh is push dhatu. Pushnati. Pushnati iti poshta. So poshta means poshakaha. One of the Tippanakaras writes, poshakaha, providing all that is needed. So holding, I said, supporting, nourishing, nurturing, and so on. Prabhu means Swami, the master. Sakshi, praninam, kritya akritasya. So another version reads krita akrita, and the Bhashya copy I have reads kritya akritya. Krita and akrita, if that is what your book says, means whatever is done, whatever is not done. The witnessing consciousness notices both. These are done and these are not done. Whereas kritya and akritya, we call them potential passive participle. Kritya is what needs to be done, what ought to be done, and akritya is what is not to be done. Kritya akritya. And the witnessing consciousness keeps an eye on all our duties and on all things that are forbidden. And then, prompted by vasanas or sanskaras, we may end up doing what needs to be done, which is good. Sometimes we may do what should not be done, that is not good. Nivasaha yasmin praninaha nivasanti. All living beings, irrespective of whether they live in a slum area or in the most posh colony of the city, they actually live in Satchit. Satchit is, Sri Krishna is Satchit. Satchinmayam Devam Anantarupam, says one of the hymns, Bala Mukundashta. Satchinmayam, no, Sat and Chinmaya, that is Sat and Chit basically. So it is in existence consciousness that everything resides, all living beings, but they are not aware of it. They are so attached to their new house, they are so attached to their new car, they are so attached to the new city where they have moved in. They are so excited about having migrated to England or America, Singapore or Muscat. So they are, where do you live? Oh, I live in Muscat. Where do you live? I just moved into Singapore, and so on. Whether it is Singapore or Mylapore, all of them in turn are in God consciousness. Sharanam, refuge, we said, especially Artanam, Prapannanam, Artiharaha. Lord is the one who removes the afflictions, the suffering of all those who surrender to Him. Abhayam sarva bhutebhyo dadami etad vratam mama, announces, proclaims Sri Rama in the Yuddha Kanda of Valmiki Ramayana. Sakradapi prapannaya tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarva bhutebhyo dadami etad vratam mama. It's a celebrated shloka which Sri Rama says when Vibhishana comes seeking shelter and all other advisors of Sri Rama say, don't trust him, let him go back to Ravana. He is the direct brother of Ravana. Can you not see it? It's a great risk to allow him to join our camp. He will betray us. He will let us down. He will pass information about us, our plans, our strategies to the enemy camp. We don't think you should take him. But Sri Rama sees the pure devotion of Vibhishana and says, Abhayam sarva bhutebhyo dadami katam mama. That's how he is the Artihara. He takes away all agitations, all fear, all insecurity of Vibhishana. And that is what he promises to anybody, everybody. Suhrit pratyupakara anapekshaha san upakari. A true friend helps us without thinking of what he or she will get in return. Prati upakaram anapeksha. Upakari yo bhavati or ya bhavati. Further, prabhavaha utpattihi pralayaha kaliyante asminniti sthanam tishtati asminniti. He explained that from where the creation arises, in which the creation stays for some time and then dissolves. Stays for some time is the usual language. Really, on higher philosophical level, when the so-called dissolution takes place, time also is dissolved. But ordinarily our thinking is time is unquestionably present and everything else comes and goes, but the time remains forever. There is no ever for time also. Desha and Kala also vanish. And in this indescribable Brahma Tattva, there is no time, there is no space, there is no creation. Even when there is creation, Brahma is free from limitations of Desha, Kala, Vastu, etc. Nidhanam is Nikshepa, Kalantara Upabhogyam Pranina. The ordinary meaning, usual, regular meaning is repository of all virtues and so on. But Adi Shankaracharya, after all, keeps the Vedic context. Vedic context talks about karma and karma phala. Therefore, we do lots of things, good and bad, and where are records kept of the satkarma, of the dushkarma? The Karma Kanda says, when we do something, the action is over, but a certain force is set in motion, and there's a name for it, apurva. The force is set in motion. Somebody does something, let's say in 2007, a certain force is set in motion, and he may pay for what he did in 2020, 13 years later. So till 2020, where was it all kept? Kalantara upabhogyam. What somebody did in 2007 and Kalantara in 2020, he suffers for it or he enjoys the merit out of it. Praninam Kalantara upabhogyam is called Nidhanam here. All that is as though preserved, saved, kept in custody. Similarly, Bijam Praroha Karanam, Praroha Dharminam. Whatever in this creation has this nature of growing, slowly growing. From a very tiny form, they grow. Praroha Dharminam. So plants are the first example that comes to our mind, but otherwise, even a company, Hewlett and Packard, two electronics engineers, started some kind of workshop in a garage in California. That was the bija, but they were so creative, they were so passionate, they started supplying simple instruments, then more sophisticated instruments, and then they had to move to a larger campus and a larger campus. Today, HP, Hewlett Packard, is a worldwide organization of great reputation. All that began in a little garage of a house in the city of Palo Alto in Northern California. Even today, that garage is kept as a memory, as a memorial. Anyone can go and look at that garage. Oh, really? This huge company, worldwide, international, what they call multinational company, HP, known for all kinds of products these days, hardware and software and whatnot, laptops and whatnot. This Hewlett Packard started in this little garage, such a small garage. Yes, Bijam and Praroha, it grew. It grew by leaps and bounds. Avyayam yavat sansara bhaviti avyayam. So, as long as this creation exists, the force which operates through it also exists. Yavat sansara bhav. And when the creation dissolves, God, appearing as certain force, vanishes. God, without any form, continues to exist. There is no death to God. But as a certain creative force, destructive force, as a force or as a power that is operating, that vanishes. Samsara bhav, yavat means as long as the samsara is, so long this force also operates. Nahi abijam kinchit prarohati. In order that something grows, there has to be a seed. Therefore, this bijam, bijam avyayam together is mentioned for this reason that whatever growth you find in the universe, whether it's the growth of companies, of individuals, of plants, trees, of various organisms, and so on, all of them, in order that they grow, there must be that potential in them. Bija is more than just being tiny, more than that tininess. Bija is something which has the potential for growth. Nityancha praroha darshanat bija santatihi navyeti gamyate. So when we look around, we find from time immemorial in this universe, in this creation, lots of things are happening. Lots of things grow very big and maybe they die. Something else starts growing. So what is that behind all this fabulous growth? That is nothing but God principle. See God in the growth of companies. See God in the growth of communities. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan has this journal, Bhavan's journal. And the recent issue, I happened to take a look at it in Chennai day before, as a short 2 or 3 pages story of how the Parsi community came to India as a small business community and how they grew. So communities grow. They became so prosperous. They did a lot of charity to begin with to their own community. Then they extended it. And today, even today, very large is the number of people in India especially who draw from the charitable institutions of Tatas and many other Parsi companies. So you have community growth. So are the other communities. There are so many communities who come with so little and later they grow and they make the society grow. The growth of Intel Corporation in the West, there was a guy called Andy Grove, and apparently he ran from Europe because he was being persecuted. Jewish people were persecuted by Hitler and maybe others. So he was one of those who ran for life, ended up in United States. I guess he had some $10 or something in his pocket. That's all that he had. $10. And he started working those days more hardware, some electronics company, then the chip making. Then he built, along with one or two others, of course, but Andy Grove was the big name those days. He took Intel Corporation to very great heights. Nityam Praroha Darshana. So what made Andy grow to such heights? It is this same divine principle. So if we have a cause for which we are working, we are passionate about a cause, we are sincere, we are noble, we have some good intentions, God assures if the means is good, the end will be good. Ensure that the means that you employ is totally pure. Then God starts flowing through you. This is assurance. Nahi kalyana krit kaschid durgatim tata gacchati, says elsewhere in the Bhagavad Geetā. Therefore, as we have said a number of times, the study of the ninth chapter gives to us greater and greater understanding and appreciation of the God principle. Further, with again some poetic beauty, the 19th verse says, Tapam yaham varsham nigrinami utsrajami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sadasachaham arjuna. Tapamiyaham. The 19th verse says, it's I who heat up. Heat up what? Could be anything for that matter, but I heat up the earth in specific context. Many places this October are so hot. From Bombay, that is Mumbai, they say October is hotter than even April, May. That's some strange phenomenon. How the weather subsides, the heat subsides only to rise, only to come back with vengeance upon me. It is God who heats the earth, and it is God who Varsham Nigrahnam. We see rains and then everything stops. Sri Krishna mentions the stopping first, Nigrahnami, and then says Utsrajami. After a few days, again it rains, cats and dogs. Nigrahnami Utsrajami. I withhold rains and I release rains. Amritam chaiva mrityuscha. At places we envisage, we visualize the universe to be essentially immortal. The immortal nature of this entire creation on a deeper level is God alone. On a superficial level, there is nothing immortal. Everything is dying. Mrityuhu. So ahameva mrityuhu, ahameva amritam. Ahameva sat, ahameva asat. Sat, asat cha. By sandhi, sadasat cha. These are all tongue twisters unless, let's say, children carefully study this, practice Gita recitation. So if some of us cannot do anything more, we must gather some children and teach them just chanting of Bhagavad. They will find out what it means. They will get philosophy later. But call them and teach them. Come on, recite this. Tapam yaham varsham nigranam yutsrajami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sadasachaham arjuna. Sadasachaham arjuna. So another place in Gita you have another tongue twister involving Sat and Asat. Nasattan nasaduchyate. First you wonder, even those who have a good knowledge of Sanskrit, what? Nasattan nasaduchyate. Wait a minute, they have split. Na sat tat na asat uchyate. Nasattan nasaduchyate. Here, sadasat chaham arjuna. Sat, asat, cha. I am what manifests. Here, sat means what is manifest or manifested, and asat means what is unmanifest. Sadasacha aham Arjuna. That's where we again and again say it's philosophy and poetry rolled into one in these shlokas, especially Shankaracharya, Bhagavan Bhashyakara says, Kincha tapami aham adityo bhutva. The whole earth is heated. Many places the agricultural fields are dried up, parched. We see pictures. Today's drone photography has come. Drone photos, where the land not only has dried, but it has fissures. It breaks. Rather than being soft and fertile and making possible wonderful growth of plants, the land is unable to grow anything. No water found anywhere. Sometimes dozens or more miles radius, no water is found. People are thirsty. People have to walk long distance for some water. They are running the risk of dying out of thirst. Who does it? Adityo Bhutva is the Supreme Lord who operates as the sun and heats up the earth. He knows why, he knows what makes him do that. Kaischit Rashmibihi Ulbanaihi. Ulbana means fierce. Sri Krishna, as the sun, at times has very fierce rays of the sun, very fierce, very hard, very harsh. Sometimes we find summer is too harsh at places. Ulbanaihi, Tikshnaihi, Vashnubihi. And then there comes another time when there is so much of rain. Aham varsham kaischit rashmibihi utsrajami. Bhashyakara puts utsrajami first. In the shloka, Nigrihnami comes first, utsrajami later. Bhashyakara says, Kaischid rashmibihi, with power of certain rays, he ensures that it rains heavily. Kaischit rashmibihi utsrajami, utsrajya, having released after a while, Nigrihnami, Kaischid rashmibihi. So Rashmi, rays, the word is used to mean certain force, certain power, certain capacity in that divine source to do all this. Ashtabihi Masaihi. So for 8 months, rains are withheld. 4 months, rains are released. Typically, in about 4 months in a year, it's a rainy season. And 8 months, hardly any rain. Ashtabihi Masaihi. And then Punarutsajami Pravrishi. Pravrut means the rainy season. Pravrut. And it's a word which has a little unusual forms in the 7 cases. So the 7th case singular in rainy season becomes Pravrishi. So Varsha Kale. Punaha Utsrajami Pravrishi. I believe in some versions there is one more word in the Shankara Bhāshya. Chaturo Masan. Chaturaha means 4. Chatvaraha Pratama Vibhakti. Chaturaha Dvitiya Vibhakti. Chaturaha Masan Utsrajami. For 4 months I release. Ashtabihi Masaihi Nigrihnami. 8 months I hold rains back. Pravrishi in the rainy season. Amritam Chaiva. When you think of gods in the heaven, they don't have death. Therefore they are called Amara. Mrityuscha Martyana. We on the earth go on dying. There is death every day. Huge numbers keep dying. Death is a daily phenomenon, but we do not notice or we do not think about it. We behave as though we will live forever. Martyanam mrityuhu devatanam amritam. And sat yasya tat sambanditaya vidyamanam tat tad viparitam asachaiva. So on a deeper plane, sat means I gave manifest and unmanifest as one explanation. Another is sat is that by virtue of which anything is. A table is, a tree is, a rabbit is, a lion is, stars and planets are, you and I are. So that by virtue of which a certain form of existence is made possible. What is Sat? Yat sambanditaya yat vidyamanam. Yasya yat sambanditaya. And tad viparitam is asat. There is so much of dying, so much of becoming invisible. How does it happen? Again, he is the God whose play makes it all happen. So, yet some minor versions may have some difference. Sadyascha yat. Word yat may not be there in your book, but I read it. Sadyascha yat sambanditaya vidyaman. Not important. Aham Arjuna. Na punaha atyantameva asat Bhagavan Swayam. Bhashyakara hastens to add, oh, so God is Sat and God is Asat also. That is, God is real and God is unreal also. No. God is never unreal. Atyantameva asat, na. Na punaha atyantameva asat. So, it's in a relative way. In a certain relative sense, we talk about things that are visible and things are invisible, and God is behind the invisible also. And Bhashyakara himself adds, Karyakaraneva. This goes more with what meaning I gave before. Karya, what has come into manifestation. Karana, the unmanifest cause. The seed was in the soil, no one saw it. Only when the Karya, a little sprout arises, a little plant rises, then everybody raises his eyebrows. Oh, look at this plant. It is growing from between stones and rocks. It is growing. Karya Karane, Karyancha Karanancha Karya Karane. In this way, Sri Krishna expresses his own glory, his own numerous manifestations, how he shows himself, and Arjuna is thus brought to understand. That's how very soon in the 10th chapter he gets to know Vibhuti. In the 11th chapter he gets to see the Vishwarupa. The 12th chapter he is told how bhakti is the best, is easier for most people. In this way, Sri Krishna's glory is made clear to us in this part of the 9th chapter. We read one more verse for now, see the explanations later. Traividyamam somapat utapapah yajnairištva swargatim prarthayante te punyamasadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divi deva bhogan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.